This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Viera Gossai. Welcome to our show, Viera.
Good morning, Frank.
Thank you very much for coming. Tell me a little about yourself. What motivated you to come to this country and crossing the Atlantic Ocean from India? Am I correct?
That's a long time ago story. That happened in 1980. That's the time when I came to this country, and I came with the passion to go to graduate school.
Where?
My first graduate school was at St. Louis University.
Sure.
So I went there and I did my master's in geophysics, seismology. That is entirely different what I'm doing right now.
What you doing right now? What's your profession?
My profession right now is healthcare. Entirely different than what I was doing, seismology, healthcare. Healthcare and in nuclear medicine. I'm a nuclear medicine specialist. And I work at the Johns Hopkins Hospital, suburban hospital.
In Baltimore?
Owned by, no, my hospital is in Bethesda, Maryland.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes.
Great place. Now, tell me a little bit about your writer, as I understand. Give me your book that you have written, and what this book is all about. I wanted to show to this audience Mahima. Am I correct to? And what does the Mahima stands for? Why did you write? What's this all about?
Well, Mahima is an Indian Hindi name, as all of us know.
And what does that mean?
It means like glory.
Glory.
Like Mahima, I am Mahimaing you means I am glorifying you.
I'm learning.
So this is, I don't know how much Hindi you know, but Hindi is my
very little.
First native language.
I do not know much about Hindi.
Yeah. So Mahima is a story about a girl who was born and raised up in India, and her journey from her basically childhood to the adulthood. And this book has 3 segments in it. Mahima's childhood is explained, like written in the first phase, and the youth, how she got married, and is like her married
So this
life.
is her journey.
This is her journey, exactly.
From beginning, which is from a village.
Well, it's not a village. I was born and raised in an army town. It's called Roorkee. It's in UP.
Yes.
And it has basically like army and university, which became IIT now.
Sure. I heard of that somewhere in the UP in India.
Yes.
So what motivates you to write Mahima?
Well, writing was my passion.
And what's it all about? Yeah, I can tell it's your profession and your passion.
It's my passion.
And a commitment.
And a commitment, and I like to write because it's very therapeutic for me. The way Mahima was written was very unique. The third phase of Mahima was written first, and how it was written is very unique too. I had a habit, I still have a habit of writing notebooks, like just little pieces here, little pieces there, little segments here, little segments there. So the initial stage of Mahima, initial phase of Mahima was started in 204.
And when did you finish it?
And that was written in Hindi. Amazingly,
so you translate it into English?
Hindi. Well, that will come. That will come.
Oh, so this is in Hindi?
No, this is
in English.
This is in English.
Okay, got it.
I'm talking about the manuscript.
Okay.
So this Hindi manuscript took about 2 years, from 2004 to 2006.
Wow.
So at that time, when Hindi manuscript was sitting in front of me, several pages in a notebook written in Hindi, I had no idea, no clue what I'm going to do with that.
Okay, great. So it's published, it's out there.
It's not published in Hindi yet.
Oh, okay. So you intend to do so?
Oh, yes. Well, this is first written in Hindi. Then when I had no idea what to do with it, I started writing. I had no intentions to publish at that time.
So what's the best thing about writing? And what advice do you have for the inspiring writers? I am a writer.
Yes.
I've written 3 books.
Yes.
And I also write columns in
Yes.
Huffington Post and Economic Times in India and many others.
Yes.
And foreign policy. So tell me a little bit about this writing. What motivates you to writing? Why do you write it? What inspires you? What will be the advice for you who wants to become a writer like yourself?
Yes. Why do I write is, this is Mahima's story, which is a very common story. As a matter of fact, it may resonate with several women born in India or elsewhere over the globe. So the passion is like, it comes within me. The writer comes within me, and seriously, when I write, I just write. I'm just deeply into writing, and I use pen and paper to write. That's my initial writing. So you're talking about what would be my suggestion to the professional writers. That is a very
And the
good,
inspiring, the one who
and
wants to
yes,
be inspired by your story, so
there,
they can also write.
yes, there is a very, very encouraging quote I read when I was writing, and I will read that for you. And the quote is written by an author, and his name is Richard Bach. And the name of the book is The Bridge Across Forever. And that book was written in 1984. I love the quotes he used in that book. I did not get a chance to read the whole book yet. But there was a quote, and he talks about the writers. And he says, a professional writer is an amateur who did not quit. And that
That's
was
the best way to describe it.
That is very encouraging for me, so I just kept writing and kept writing.
Kept writing and kept
And
writing.
kept writing. After Hindi version was not published. I was translating. I translated whole thing, and it was like 248 pages of manuscript in front of me, and I had no idea. But then I decided to publish it. The thought in my mind when I decided to publish it was, like, I wanted to be the voice for the voiceless women, especially our East Asian women. And so I just decided that somehow or the other, I have to reach them, I have to touch them, and that could be a good source to do that.
So you are the voice for those who are voiceless?
Yes.
You're the
I mean,
hope
I'm
for
not-
those who are hopeless?
Well, I'm not claiming that. I want to be.
But that's what
my
you like to
desire.
be.
Exactly.
So what's the major theme of this book is?
The major theme is memoir. It's beginning to end. It's like how Mahima was raised in a nice, happy family as a kid, and her dreams, how her dreams were becoming true, and then
What was her dream? What was she aspires to be?
From the very childhood, Mahima lived very close to IIT campus.
So she
and
wanted to be
I
part
wanted-
of the IIT?
Well, that was her dream, because she used to play with those boys, you know, like little girl going in the boys' hostels, and that was my dream, that one day in my life I would go to that campus, I would be a student, and I will study there. So that's what my dream
Did
was.
she
to
study?
begin with. Yes, she
Did she
studied.
aspire to be whatever she wanted to be? Aim high, work hard? Did she pursue her dream?
Well, her roads were not as straight and as smooth as one can.
So she
dream
struggled
about.
and sacrificed.
It's like sacrifice, and I would not call it struggle, but I would call the circumstantial things, which that's the reason she could not stay on that path. Yes, she studied in that IIT, and she did her master's in nuclear physics, and then after that, she did some research also for 3 years in seismology and earthquake engineering.
Okay, so how would anyone will be inspired by the story of Mahima? What kind of legacy she will leave behind when she's gone from this earth?
This is, well, that's such a good question, such a good question. The third phase, I am not sure if you got a chance, well, you did not have the book, so you didn't have a chance to browse through, but Mahima Mahima got married. Her marriage was partially arranged. And
Which is true pretty much in India.
Yes, it's true, but every true thing cannot be good. Every
Of
true thing
course.
cannot be good. So, and some of the marriages, a lot of marriages in India are arranged. Many of them are forcefully arranged. Many of them are not. You get to know
Sure,
each other,
sure,
but
sure.
not to the point where you are comfortable and you trust and you know that, yes, this is my soulmate. So the abuse started in the very beginning. As a matter of fact, before Mahima was even married, the abuse started. But Mahima was young, very young, away from her birth country, away from her parents. So Mahima basically sacrificed her dream to raise a family, to stay in the family. And Mahima took a lot of abuse for 24 years of her life.
From her
But
in-laws family and from her husband?
From her husband, yes. And Mahima never, during her 24 years of life, never quit, never left hope, and kept going. Her dreams, for which she came from India, what she wanted to become, she had to sacrifice that too.
Well, that's a great story. Is it a happy ending? Obviously, it is.
Well, that's a very
Despite
good question.
all the
If I
problems
tell
and the
you-
challenges that she faced,
Yes.
she is still inspired to be what she wanted to be, and she did.
She
She
is.
achieved her goal.
She never quit. She never. She just basically took care of herself, and she is a very courageous and very, very strong woman. And yes, her life changed. And this book is not a happy ending. This book ends with a divorce.
Well, so the legacy that she left behind is that you can achieve anything you want to be, and you could be the best you can be, and you stay true to yourself.
Well, the most important thing is you have to be
And never
true
give
and
up.
Never give up. Be honest to yourself. And when a woman, any woman, Indian or from any other culture, when the woman is married, the fact of the matter is most of children's responsibilities are on her shoulders. And it's not a burden. It's not a burden, but that is the fact that women also sacrifice several abuses because of her, because she wants to raise children in a right manner.
Which is to me
Very good.
is a noble cause.
Very noble cause.
You're creating the next generations, and you have so much responsibility on your shoulder to give them the strength and courage so they can continue on with their journey.
Exactly.
So what is the next for you? You're going to continue to write all these things?
Oh yes. I have.
What's the next book you're writing?
Well, 2 projects are simultaneously going on. My first Hindi manuscript is going on. It's like 5th, 6th edition, but it's going to come out very soon. And very soon means soon, this year or perhaps within next 6 months it will be out. And my second project it's not really a sequel, but the project that will involve several issues like we face socially, locally, and globally, like of course domestic violence, and especially as an Indian, intercaste marriages, interreligion marriages. So that will involve some of that also.
Why in India is so much a challenge and problem with the interreligion, intercaste marriages from the lower caste, from the upper caste, as well as the challenges they face from one religion to another religion? If they love each other, there should be no boundary.
I agree with you 100%, but I'm sure you know that our interreligion marriages were legalized by Parliament in 1954. But we are the people, our society are the people who is making it not legalized. And this is basically, this is only my opinion. I mean, you may have other opinion, other people have another.
Please
some
express
other
your opinion.
My opinion about the marriages, the foundation of any marriage or any happy is love.
Sure.
And I don't believe a person is, the thing is.
So the caste, the creed, religion, race, background, and belief should not really matter.
Should not. That's a very narrow window people are looking at this point also in India as well as here.
So I just read in the newspaper about Aligarh, where they're converting the Christians and the Muslims to the Hindu faith, and they believe, and they firmly believe, and they probably strongly believe, and they probably have reason to believe, that they will convert all these people, who was close to about, I would say, the 180 million Muslims, and I do not know the other faith, which is the Christianity, which is a lot, and
It's
that had been
2.5.
there for thousands of years in that part of the nations. And Muslim ruled that part of the world for thousands of years.
Yes.
The Delhi of Sultanate came into the power in the 1222. So what's your take on it? That's not what India stands for. India always stood for secularism, diversity, and democracy. And those are the strengths and the values that we should take a pride in it.
Well, those are the words we use as general use, but do we practice them? My answer to that question is no. We do not practice.
Why shouldn't we practice them?
It should be practiced. But the thing is, like you're talking about Aligarh episode, yes, I have been following that, and I read, like on my way to work, we have to take a shuttle from parking lot to the hospital.
So that gives you good time, that gives you a little bit time.
I read my Indian Express during
Okay,
that time.
okay.
So I have been following that. And you know, the people, the high people, their response to that episode is like, religion is anybody, this is your free choice, you can accept any religion. That is the response given by the high leader in that area. But at the same time, those conversions were forceful because those innocent and uneducated people, illiterate, they are living in slums. So what they want to do is they want to create a majority of Hindu, because India is, at this point they are calling it a Hindu country. And they were also talking about making Bhagavad Gita as the national book, which is well and good, but at the same time, it's not well and good because there are several religions in India. And also one more thing, since you brought up this point, I'm just a little bit in politics. What they're doing is 25th of December, which is a Christmas.
Right.
What they're trying to do is call it a good governance day or something. I am not sure, governance day. And they will be like, the schools will be open during that holiday, especially on 25th. My question to them is, I mean, I really get upset when I think about that. My question to them is, out of 365 days of year, 25th is the only day they picked up, and they will be celebrating two people's birthday, Madan Mohan Malviya and the other one.
Who was the great man who established Banaras Hindu University,
exactly.
And he believed there was no distinction between Hindu, Muslim, Jain and sects.
Exactly.
And he made that statement.
Exactly.
And the statue stands on the front of the Banaras Hindu University, the southern century, in a hollowed hall.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, why is the Prime Minister and the government of India and UP in this case would allow something like that to happen?
Oh, well, I wish I was such a great politician to answer those questions. I just know a little bit about politics, but I'm telling you, we are lacking in our leadership in India. Our leadership is not the leadership which used to be when in my opinion again, when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister, those times are gone. It's like, this is all our leaders, you know, like mostly like such a big percentage of Indian population is illiterate. So they do whatever they are asked to do.
I look forward to India when India can live is to ideals of equality and justice. I look forward to India when India encourages the exceptionalism rather than extremism.
Yes.
I look forward to India, as President John F. Kennedy says about America, that there should be no distinction of the people regardless of their race, religion, caste, creed, background, and belief. I met Prime Minister Modi a couple of times when I was there in India. I find him a very charismatic leader. He's a great leader, he inspires a lot, and he understands how to do business and how to work with the people. I would hope that he will understand the situation we're in and provide the leadership that is badly needed in these situations. He is the Prime Minister for all the people, regardless of who people those are. But before I forget, I want you to read a couple of sections from your book, and I'm sure the audience will love the idea.
This book has up and down, happy moments, joyful moments, sad moments, but I picked up, well...
You picked up something that you want to read to the audience.
There are several, but I just want to introduce my audience by reading a little bit from chapter 19.
Okay.
And that is on page 111. And the title of the chapter is Her Wedding Day. The bridesmaid took her position behind her, and the two flower girls in front. Rajni escorted all the participants to the main gate of the chapel, where an elderly university professor, in her father's role, waited for her. He gave his arm to Mahima. She held it with her right hand, holding the bouquet in her left.
What a wonderful story is.
Oh.
Okay, please read a little bit more.
Okay, let me just, one more paragraph.
What would you like? That we do have a time constraint, so you probably should be done in about a half a minute.
Oh, I will do that.
If you can, please.
Okay, so the organ started playing to its fullest and her heart pounding to the loudest. She carried the beautiful smile on her face. She kept taking one step at a time, each step over the petal of pink roses spread by the little flower girls on her path.
Wow, that's very well said. Well, thank you very much for reading this thing and telling the audience about this story of Mahima, which is inspiring to all of you, for all the people in the audience, including myself. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Sure. So that is our show. Until next time, this is Frank Islam wishing you a great week. And thank you very much for watching.